Hello everyone, and welcome to another installment in my baby shower series. I wanted to share this project with you, which is now become kind of a two-part project. It is all under the same, that means it all ends up being the same project, but it is two different pieces. So I thought I'd go ahead and share this with you. This is just a nameplate that I've made for the baby. Once I finish the other project, I will know how this is going to get hung, or at least where to put my ribbon and stuff so that it can be hung. But I wanted to go ahead and share with you now just how it looked and how I came about doing it. Everything you see here is all, like, none of this did not come anyway like this, okay? I bought the plaque a while ago to use for myself and had to get a bigger one because it didn't work for what I wanted, but knew that I could use this at some point. These letters I got from either Michael's or Joann's, I can't remember, but it did take me a while to find them, and I know I found them at one place and bought them, and then I found them cheaper somewhere else, but they didn't have the right letters, so it all worked out. I painted the inside white, and I did that with 2 coats, and this is just some regular white paint, whatever I already happen to have in my garage. I think we used it for like the ceilings or the doors or something like that. The letters come natural, unfinished wood, just like the plaque did. This is obviously not one of the letters there, but this is just an extra one that I had. Oops. And originally I covered it with paper, used my sanding tool to sand down the edges to really define all the edges. And I didn't like the natural wood around it, I just didn't think it worked well. So I painted that with my lilac dust paint, which I'd gotten a while ago at Michael's. But I kind of goofed and ended up with just a little bit of paint around some of the edges, so I went back to where all my paints and stuff were. And I found this one, which happened to be, I think, just a little tiny bit, like hardly even noticeable shade darker than the paper. So this one worked out well. And this is Lilac Mist. Again, bought it at Michael's a while ago, and it's an acrylic paint. So even though there was paper on there, I just went ahead and I did 2 coats around the edges of the letters in the darker color, and then 3 coats with the lighter purple. One, I did the first coat just to ensure, just to see how bad it would seep in, and it seeped in pretty good. I mean, it was still paper. And it did go to the wood a little bit, but again, because the paper and the paint were so similar, you really didn't notice, so I only did the other 2 just to make sure that it had a nice smooth finish. I then went over each letter with my clear Wink of Stella glitter pen, just to give it a little bit of a wow. I did have kind of a metallic purple, but I didn't want the metallic. I didn't think it would look nice. But then after all the paint dried, I realized that there was it was a flat finish, and I wanted it to have just a little bit, I mean, even the paper was a flat finish. But, so I think I would have done the glitter either way. So I just went over it a couple of times. I did give it, in case you don't know anything about Wink of Stella glitter, it is a liquid. It comes in a tube like this. Okay, it's got a little brush end here, and it does dry really quick. I'm looking to see if I have a piece. There we go. Okay, it'll be hard to see on here. So these are just some of the other colors that I have. So let's. Okay, so well, it should seep in. So I don't know if you can see the wet spot. Okay, so that doesn't work. Well, it does leave a bit of a wet spot, but it dries quickly. Well, because I had painted on these and stuff, I wanted to really ensure that it wouldn't wipe off. So I gave it an hour in between coats, and I only did 2 coats in that just to really ensure that every edge of it was covered with the glitter. So I'd say all in all, the letters themselves took me about half a day to do, because this paint dries pretty quick, and I only did a few coats, so, you know, I gave it 24 hours before I glued anything down in case, you know, something had messed up, but otherwise super simple. I had used my quick dry adhesive to glue the letters down. I just put a bead around and then really, or you know, a line of glue down the center and really squished. Not worried about it coming over the sides because it does dry clear, and you know, so you really don't even notice it. I did think about using my hot glue gun, but I had noticed last summer after I had made my sign that it apparently had gotten warm enough in my house that some of the glue kind of ran. So I'm not sure, I mean, nothing shifted on my sign, but I thought, I don't know how well their house is going to stay cool or not. And since this is going to the baby's room, the last thing I wanted, and they do have a 6-year-old, the last thing I wanted was, you know, glue running down and making it look bad. So I went with this, you know, knowing that it would hold strong, but shouldn't melt. So once I had glued all of the letters down, I then just took a couple of jars and put them on there just to really hold them down tight. I was a little worried that it wouldn't stick to because I had painted the back. So I wanted to make sure that there was, you know, that everything was nice and flat and even. I just spaced them out using one of the other letters along the top to make sure that they were all even. And then for the bottom, I did the same thing, but instead of spacing it from here, I did it along the bottom, so there's that nice even gap. I had decided previously to cover the edge with ribbon, and I just happened to have the same color purple as the baby shower. I was trying hard not to go overboard with the purple, but I didn't want, again, I didn't really want to do the pink, because sometimes too much pink, unless you're really, really into pink, for me, too much pink is almost too much, or, well, obviously too much pink is too much. Too much pink can be bad. I hardly ever dressed my girls in all pink when they were little, because they just looked like tiny baby-sized bottles of Pepto-Bismol with a face. Just because the pinks when for babies' clothes are just pink. So I wanted something that, that she would kind of grow up with. So I found this and thought, really nice simple border. It happened to be the perfect width, and it's just a 1/4 inch ribbon. I used my ribbon, I'm going to say my ribbon solder. I'm not sure, I forget what it's called. It's a ribbon cutter. You turn it on, and this wire right in here, I think you can see it, gets hot, so it just melts the edges. So I measured them out, and then I came in just a little bit from the measurement to ensure, because once you stick it down, you can't really use this to cut off the edges. And you just lined it up, and then once it's on and the little light's on, you just press it down. I usually press down really hard and then give it a couple of good over and overs, and then I tug out one side to ensure that I don't mess up my placement or anything. So I did that for the edges. To glue down the ribbon, I ended up using a combination of the quick dry adhesive and super glue. This just soaked into the ribbon, which originally I wasn't worried about because I thought it would just help make the ribbon stiff and it would glue down fabulous. But it didn't seem to really want to stick. It soaked into the ribbon so much that it didn't want to stick down to the wood itself. So I thought, well, I'll just try a little bit of super glue in the corner and see how that holds, and we'll go from there. And it holds really well. So the combination of these two, this made the ribbon stiff and straight and, sealed it basically. And so that gave the super glue something to hold on to, as well as, the combination of them being wet. So it worked out fabulously. I mean, you cannot... And there's a couple of spots where along the edge where the glues didn't quite meet each other, which is fine, but you cannot, you cannot pull this up at all. You will ruin something. So I went ahead and stuck that down. I did this little monkey, which is just a standing monkey from the Create a Critter cartridge. I didn't really like the looks of the hanging monkey, so I went, after I had hemmed and hawed at it, and then I asked my kids' opinion, and then my husband volunteered his, which was fine, don't get me wrong. It surprised me that he had an opinion about it. We had all decided that we really liked the looks of this one. And it is floating, but I didn't like it being way down there. I just thought it looked funny. This kind of centers it in this gap. And I only did this because I thought this was just so huge of an area right there. I mean, this one's still kind of big, and it does look a little one-sided, but I don't know if I'm going to put anything there. But this was just such a huge area that I had to do something. So I cut him out at 1.5 inches, I believe. And I just gave him little bling earrings and the bow, just like I did with the other monkeys. And then a little flower here in the corner. I cannot remember where I got the flowers, just something I've had in my stash forever. It actually had 2 other flowers with it, and I planned to put them in each corner. But once the glue got onto them, 1, they wouldn't stay glued down, and 2, the glue kind of distorted them. They're kind of a papery flower. So the glue just, it made them really dark where the glue had hit, and of course that wasn't through the whole thing, so it didn't look right. But I just used my quick dry adhesive again to glue this down. And then I just took the flowers, I cut the flowers off of this Bling on a Roll from Recollections and stuck them in the corner just to kind of hide the seam edges and to give it just a little bit of something else. And that was it. So it was quick and simple. It did take me about 1.5 weeks to get it done, but that's just because I was doing other things and, from like start to finish, not, excuse me, not once I had stuff done. It was just start to finish. So super simple once I knew exactly what was going on. But between painting and finding the letters and all that, about 1.5 weeks to get done. And I really love it. And I think it'll just be really fun to either have in the baby's room or, on the door or whatever. So that is this week's project. I do want to apologize that there was no video up last week, but I was in the process of getting stuff done around the house because for the first time in about 1 year, my husband was actually able to go with us up to see my parents over the weekend. So nobody was here to do anything. So it all had to get done. And, basically like laundry, stuff like that. So I spent, most of last week getting that stuff done and ready to go and all that stuff, which, and we had a great time. I got to see, I got a better look at where the baby shower was going to be at, and I got to see the baby's room, and, we had a fantastic time. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm hoping to have part 2 up in the next couple of weeks or whatever. This is my oldest's spring break, so I plan to put them to work. I apologize for the shadows. The sun decided to come out right now, so moving my hands, I'll try not to. So I plan to put them to work a little bit, and I also spent most of last week getting all kinds of stuff mailed off because I had sold a bunch, I destashed my room and sold a bunch of stuff, so I have a little extra money for the Scrapbook Expo, or the Scrapbook Convention, excuse me, that's coming this month. Yay! Well, not this month because we're still in March, in April. Yay! I'm excited to go. So, thanks again for joining me, and like I said, I'm hoping to have the part 2 project up here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll talk to you soon. Happy crafting. Bye.